My world shattered when I discovered my own brother got my fiancée pregnant, right before our wedding. The betrayal was a punch to the gut, but what came next, my family demanding I forgive them, ignited a rage I never knew I possessed. Believe me, this story is absolutely insane. I know it's almost unbelievable, and frankly, I don't care if you think I'm making it up. I just need to vent, to scream this into the void. I won't sugarcoat a thing, but I will protect identities. Just a few months ago, at 32, I was deeply in love, engaged to Sarah, my girlfriend of 5 incredible years. Then there's my younger brother, Mike, 29. He was always the golden child in our family. To truly grasp the gravity of this betrayal, you need to understand my family's history of favoritism. Growing up, Mike could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. I, on the other hand, was constantly chastised and punished for minor infractions. This wasn't subtle sibling rivalry. It was obvious, intense, and deeply unfair. Mike would break something, and I'd be accused. He'd start a fight, and I'd get grounded. If we both got straight A's, he'd get a new video game console, while I'd get a dismissive pat on the back and a reminder to keep it up. My parents, Tom and Linda, always had an excuse. Mike's younger, he needs more attention. You're the older one, you should know better. Mike's just more sensitive. This relentless gaslighting made me feel useless and despised in my own home. As we grew older, the preference intensified. When I got into a good college on a partial scholarship, my parents barely noticed. But when Mike chose community college, they threw him a lavish celebration and bought him a new car. Never mind, I'd been biking 5 miles each way to my part-time job for years. I moved out the first chance I got, desperate to escape that toxic environment. I worked 2 jobs and took loans to put myself through college. Mike dropped out after 1 semester, claiming college wasn't for him. My parents, they fully supported him, praising his refusal to conform to societal expectations. They even bankrolled his endless string of failed business ventures. No matter how much distance I tried to create, they always found a way to drag me back. Holiday dinners were a special kind of hell, a minefield of subtle insults and not-so-subtle comparisons. Still in that entry-level position, Mike's thinking about another business. He's so entrepreneurial. It never mattered that I was building a secure career while Mike systematically drained their retirement savings. Despite all this, I tried to maintain a friendship with Mike. He was my brother, after all, but it was always one-sided. I'd reach out, try to connect, and he'd either ignore me or twist the conversation into some game he needed to win. If I got a promotion, he'd suddenly have a huge opportunity. If I started dating, he'd, without fail, be in a super serious relationship. I actually met Sarah while trying to reconnect with Mike. She was a friend of one of his many short-lived girlfriends, and we clicked immediately. Sarah was everything I'd wanted: brilliant, hilarious, kind, and stunningly beautiful. We started dating, and for the first time, I felt truly satisfied, truly valued. My parents, of course, weren't pleased. They made snide remarks about Sarah being out of my league. Mike, however, became oddly, intensely interested in my life, always asking about her. At the time, I was just relieved he seemed to care. Looking back, the red flags were waving furiously. Sarah and I moved in together after a year of dating, and it was fantastic. We both had stable careers, traveled, and talked about our future. I dared to believe I could have the life I'd always longed for. On our 4th anniversary, I proposed. Just a quiet dinner, a heartfelt speech. I was ecstatic when she said yes. We decided on a long engagement, not rushing. We had our entire lives ahead of us. Or so I believed. When we told my family, their reactions were diverse. My mother plastered on a fake smile, croaking, "Oh, how nice," in a tone that implied it was anything but. My father just grunted, muttered, "Good luck with that," and returned to the television. Mike, though, had the weirdest reaction. He congratulated us, but there was something unsettling about his smile, almost predatory. I pushed it aside, telling myself it was just my own anxieties. The following year was a blur of wedding planning and career demands. We weren't seeing each other as much, but I dismissed it as a phase. Right? Looking back, the signs were screaming. Sarah grew distant, always on her phone, smiling at texts she'd brush off as business friends. She started going out more, coming home late, smelling of wine and cologne. But I trusted her implicitly. The thought of her cheating never crossed my mind, let alone with my own brother. Then, about 4 months ago, she started acting strangely. Moody, irritable, constantly nauseous. I, in my naive hope, was excited. The possibility of pregnancy thrilled me. We hadn't been trying, but we talked about children. I started picturing nursery colors, dreaming up baby names. Then, one devastating night, she sat me down. Tears streamed down her face as she dropped the bomb. She was pregnant, but it wasn't mine. I was stunned. We hadn't been intimate in a while, true, but I never expected her to cheat. When I finally croaked out, "Who is the father?" she completely broke down, sobbing, choking out, "It's Mike." My entire universe came crashing down. Everything I thought I knew, everything I had built my life upon, crumbled into dust. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All I could feel was an overwhelming, suffocating wave of betrayal and loss. Sarah desperately tried to explain, her words tumbling out between sobs. It started at our engagement party. Mike had cornered her, whispering she was making a mistake marrying me, preying on her insecurities. It wasn't a one-time slip. They'd been having an affair for months. I kicked Sarah out that night. I couldn't bear to look at her, couldn't breathe the same air as the woman who had so utterly deceived me. She begged me to forgive her, swore it was a mistake, that she loved me. But all I could see was her lying to my face, wearing my ring, all while sleeping with my brother. After Sarah left, I called Mike. I can't recall the exact words. It was just a whirlwind of wrath and pain. He tried to play it off, claiming it was just a drunken mistake that meant nothing. But when I pushed, he became defensive, sneering. Maybe if you'd been a better fiancé, she wouldn't have come to me. I saw red, blinding rage. I jumped into my car, speeding toward his apartment. When I arrived, my parents were already there. Mike, naturally, had called them first, weaving some tale about Sarah seducing him. And they believed him. They always do. My mother immediately lectured me about forgiveness and family, while my father just stood there, arms crossed, looking at me with disappointment. Not at Mike, never at Mike. I tried to explain, but they wouldn't listen. They kept insisting I needed to forgive Mike and support Sarah through her pregnancy, because family comes first. That was it. I lost it. Years of pent-up resentment and anger finally spilled forth. I told them exactly what I thought of their warped devotion, how they'd always favored Mike, how they'd never taken my side. I looked Mike dead in the eye and told him he was no longer my brother, that he was dead to me. Then I turned to my parents and told them they could finally have the son they'd always wanted, because they no longer had me. I stormed off, ignoring their cries and pleas. I drove for hours, aimless, just needing to be anywhere but there. When I finally made it home, my phone was a graveyard of missed calls and messages. Sarah begging for another chance, Mike switching between hollow apologies and furious accusations. But most were from my parents, demanding I grow up and make amends. I just ignored them all. I barely ate, barely slept. Called out of work, burned through all my vacation days. I couldn't face anyone, couldn't bear the thought of explaining. All I did was sit there, revisiting every detail, desperately trying to pinpoint where it all went wrong. By the way, if you're still with me on this unbelievable journey, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what else unfolds, or what I have coming next. It's been 3 months since that day. I've relocated, changed my phone number, and started therapy. But my family? They refuse to give up. Despite my efforts to cut off communication, they keep intruding. They've started showing up at my office, trying to ambush me, pushing for a reconciliation. My mother wails about how I'm ripping the family apart. My father leaves harsh voicemails, telling me to man up and forgive Mike. Mike has tried to approach me several times, but I've managed to dodge him. They've even dispatched flying monkeys, extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins I haven't spoken to in years, to guilt trip me. They're suddenly calling, telling me how important family is, and how I should let bygones be bygones. It's like they're in some alternate reality where Mike and Sarah made a tiny, insignificant mistake. Just yesterday, I received a message from Sarah. She's keeping the baby and intends to co-parent with Mike. And guess what? My parents are overjoyed, completely forgetting the circumstances. The letter was full of hollow apologies and convoluted explanations, claiming she and Mike had discovered real love via this terrible scenario. She even had the audacity to suggest we could all become friends eventually, for the sake of the child. I was sick to my stomach. I am at my absolute wit's end. Part of me just wants to disappear, start over somewhere new. But another part is so outraged I want to stay and fight. This treachery has poisoned every aspect of my life. I can't be alone with my thoughts. Dating? Unthinkable. The thought of trusting someone again utterly terrifies me. I've even lost friends who believe I should take the high road and reunite with my family, as if I'm the villain for refusing to play happy families. The thought of Sarah and Mike raising a child together, a child that should have been mine, is a continuous, agonizing stab in my gut. I understand, intellectually, the child is innocent, but I just can't bring myself to feel anything good about its existence. My parents have even started discussing how I should be an uncle. The very concept makes me physically ill. How can I look at that child and not see the ultimate symbol of my brother's monstrous betrayal? So, I guess my question is, am I the idiot for refusing to forgive my brother and ex-fiancé? Am I wrong to cut off my family over this? Any guidance on how to proceed would be so deeply appreciated. Right now, I feel like I'm drowning in a vast, cold sea of treachery and relentless gaslighting. I apologize for how long this has been. If you've made it this far, thank you. Writing this down has been cathartic. I'm not sure what I hope to gain: validation, guidance, or just the desperate need to scream into the void and have anyone hear me. Holy wow, this post absolutely blew up overnight. Thank you, truly, to everyone for your help and advice. I'm astonished by the response, and it's going to take time to sift through all the comments. But I wanted to address a few common questions. First, yes, I have consulted a lawyer about a restraining order against my family. It's underway. Second, I have no intention of contact with the baby. I know it's not the child's fault, but I cannot get involved without losing my sanity. Third, for my job, I've spoken with HR. They're aware and supportive. They've beefed up front desk security and offered me more work from home options. I'm grateful for their understanding. Fourth, many asked if I've considered relocating. It's definitely something I'm thinking about. My company has offices in other cities, so a transfer might be possible. Fifth, to those suggesting a DNA test. Sarah admitted the affair, and the timeline is consistent. I see no reason to doubt the child is Mike's. Even if it was mine, I doubt I could ever look at that child without the crushing weight of this betrayal suffocating me. Sixth, I'm overwhelmed by the number of people with similar experiences. It's upsetting how widespread this betrayal is, but strangely comforting to know I'm not alone. Thank you all for being vulnerable. Seventh, someone asked about legal action for alienation of affection. I looked into it, but it's not recognized in my state. Even if it were, I don't have the energy for another legal battle. Eighth, several noted Mike's narcissistic behavior. I've started reading about NPD, and much of it rings true. It helps me understand, but doesn't excuse his actions. Ninth, Sarah's family is as appalled as you might expect. They've cut off communication with her and offered me their support. It's a small comfort, but I value it. Finally, 10th, someone asked if I'd considered having my own children someday. Honestly, this has made me question if I ever want a family at all. But I'm trying not to make major decisions while processing everything. I'll keep you updated if anything significant happens, but for now, my focus is on recovering and moving ahead. Thank you again. Your encouragement and suggestions have been a lifeline. I may not answer every comment, but please know I've read them all, and they're making me feel less alone. Hello everyone, it's been about 2 weeks since my last post, and it's been a full-blown roller coaster. Thank you all again for your enormous support. It's disturbing how common this deception is. The last several weeks have been hellish. Remember the restraining order? That turned into a massive ordeal. My lawyer filed the paperwork, we had a hearing. I assumed it would be simple, but I was wrong. My parents showed up with their own lawyer, trying to paint me as crazy, claiming I was ripping the family apart over a simple misunderstanding. Fortunately, the judge didn't buy it. She issued the restraining order against Mike and my parents. But only after my mother burst into theatrical tears, and my father glared at me as if I'd committed murder. Mike's face, though, if looks could kill, I'd be dead. As we left, Mike tried to approach me. My lawyer stepped in, reminding him of the order. Mike scoffed, snarling, "This isn't over, and you can't hide behind a piece of paper forever." His words shook me, but at least I have legal protection. The job situation has been another nightmare. My family showing up at my workplace came to a head last week. I was in a meeting when my assistant alerted me my mother was in the lobby, raising a disturbance. She'd brought a photo album, trying to show coworkers' baby pictures of Mike and me, lamenting how closer boys used to be. I excused myself, stomach churning. There she was, surrounded by uncomfortable coworkers, mid-story about us bathing together as toddlers. When she spotted me, she tried to rush toward me, babbling about a baby shower. But I cut her off. I told her she needed to leave immediately, or I'd call the police for trespassing and violating the restraining order. The look on her face was as if I'd slapped her, but I couldn't care. Security escorted her out. I spent the next hour doing damage control. Most understood, but I sensed some wondering what drama I was bringing. But it was the fight with Mike that truly derailed everything. Last Saturday, I was at the gym, punching a bag when I heard his voice. I spun around. There was Mike, smirking, brazenly breaking the court order. He started speaking loudly. I ordered him to leave before I called the police, but he just laughed, smugly saying he'd tell them I'd threatened him and Sarah. I lost control. I lunged, my fist connecting hard with his jaw. He stumbled, then lunged back. We ended up on the floor, trading blows like angry kids. This time, no parents to separate us, no one telling me to be the bigger person. I got in a few good hits before staff pulled us apart. Mike's nose was gushing blood, my eyes swelling shut. We were both screaming, trying to get free. The manager threatened cops, which finally shook me out of it. I grabbed my things and fled. Driving home, shaking from adrenaline and fury, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered. It was Sarah, shrieking I'd broken Mike's nose, that he might need surgery. I couldn't help but laugh, a hollow, bitter sound. The ridiculousness of her being upset with me after what they'd done was too much. I asked if I'd upset her little boyfriend. She dissolved into sobs, complaining about anxiety, how the baby could sense her pain, and how I could be so selfish. I hung up and blocked her number. The aftermath of that brawl was severe. News spread like wildfire. My phone flooded with texts, some supporting me, others crucifying me for assaulting my poor, defenseless brother. Sarah's parents, surprisingly, contacted me again, supporting me and expressing disappointment in their daughter. A minor consolation. The restraining order doesn't seem adequate anymore. Mike openly violated it, and I'm terrified of what he'll do next. The legal fallout has been a nightmare. My lawyer called. Mike, of course, filed assault accusations. I recounted how Mike violated the RO and provoked me. My lawyer groaned, saying we'd fight it, but it would be tough since I threw the first punch. We're bringing our own charges against Mike for breaking the RO. My lawyer thinks this will strengthen our case, but nothing's guaranteed. I've had to provide police statements, show injuries, and justify defending myself against my own brother, which is humiliating. Mike and I are banned from the gym for life. I can't blame them, but it's unfortunate. It was one of the few places I could release frustration. My cousin Amy, whom I'm close to, called. She's taken immense pressure for supporting me, but is staying firm. She told me my parents are telling everyone I'm having a mental breakdown, claiming Sarah and Mike's relationship began after mine ended, and I'm just envious. Most family is skeptical, but some are buying it. It's infuriating they're spreading lies while I'm trying to recuperate. Work has been difficult. After my mother in the lobby and the gym fight going viral, coworkers were on edge. My manager called me in. He said he valued me but thought it best if I took a leave of absence until things calmed down. A paid personal sabbatical. I wanted to scream work was the only thing keeping me sane, but the decision was made. I agreed, thanked him, and packed my office. As I left, I overheard coworkers discussing how my brother got my fiancée pregnant. I slammed my office door, taking some satisfaction in watching them jump. I'd be lying if I said none of this was impacting me. I take long, aimless drives at night. Sometimes I'm parked outside my old place, wondering how my life got so messed up. In this commotion, I received support from an unexpected source, Sarah's younger sister, Emma. She contacted me, apologizing for her sister, offering support. At first, I was skeptical, but after speaking, I realized she's as disgusted as I am. She's kept me updated on Sarah and Mike. They've moved in together, living as if they hadn't destroyed lives. Emma claims Sarah portrays herself as the victim, crying about not intending to hurt anyone, saying she and Mike are soulmates. It makes me sick, but I appreciate Emma keeping me in the loop. Information is power. Social media has been a nightmare. I'm a private person, but this threw me into an unwanted spotlight. Mike's friend posted about our gym fight. Comments became a battleground. Some defended me, others called me unstable. I made the mistake of looking after too many beers, hurled my phone, cracked the screen. I've canceled most social media. I can't deal with the notifications and messages. But I'd move to the moon to avoid this turmoil. No final decisions yet, but a fresh start is desperately appealing. A new city, new life, where no one recognizes me as the guy whose brother cheated on his fiancée. My parents have been unusually silent since the restraining order. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Sarah's spreading the word about her pregnancy. Emma tells me she's posting updates, ultrasound photos, belly shots, with messages about how blessed she and Mike are. Each new piece of information feels like a fresh wound, triggering the pain just as I thought I was recovering. So that's where things stood. 2 weeks ago, I believed my life couldn't get any worse. Yet it did. I'm still angry, wounded, but also just weary. So incredibly tired of justifying myself. This isn't so much an update as a cry into the void. I'm not sure what I'm asking for, advice, pity, or a time machine. Whatever happens, I'll try to keep you all informed. Your encouragement has meant more than you can realize. It's a comfort to be reminded there are good people in the world, even when everything feels like betrayal and deceit. Final update. Hello everyone, it's been a week since my last update, and I'm here with what I expect will be my final post on this disaster. Thank you all again for your help and guidance. Your words have been a lifeline. A lot has happened in 7 days. The biggest news, I'm relocating. Yes, I took the leap. I accepted a transfer to our Seattle office. It wasn't easy, but after everything, I desperately needed a new start. The final push came after a difficult day last week. I returned from a meeting with my lawyer regarding Mike's assault allegations, and saw a note in my mailbox. From Sarah. I almost threw it out, but morbid curiosity got the better of me. Inside, an ultrasound image and a handwritten letter. It stated how pleased she and Mike were about their baby, hoping I could be pleased for them, and that the baby would be delighted to have its uncle. I saw red. Pure rage. Before I knew it, I grabbed my phone, unblocked Sarah, and dialed. She picked up. I just let go. I unleashed every raw, furious emotion. I told her exactly how I felt about her, Mike, and their beautiful little family. I told her she was insane if she believed I'd ever want anything to do with that kid, and that she, Mike, and the baby could all go straight to hell. It wasn't my finest moment, but I finally shouted everything I'd kept bottled up. That's when it hit me. I couldn't stay. That same night, I called my supervisor and told him I wanted to transfer. He was relieved. He expedited the papers, and by morning, it was official. 2 weeks to pack and relocate across the nation. My family and social circle quickly learned. My parents were outraged. They showed up at my place, breaking the restraining order, desperate to talk me out of it. My mother cried hysterically, accusing me of abandoning the family. My father was furious, yelling I was selfish and immature. I didn't engage. I called the police. As they were led away, my mother shrieked I'd regret it, that family was everything. I closed the door and returned to packing. Mike reacted differently. He didn't contact me directly, likely due to legal difficulties. But he wrote a lengthy, passive-aggressive social media post about some people can't handle seeing others happy. How he and Sarah were rising above the hate. Clearly for me, it stung to see how many liked it, but I reminded myself their opinion is meaningless. Sarah's response was the most startling. After our phone call, she contacted Emma. My statements had a greater impact than I imagined. Emma said Sarah had broken down, admitting what she and Mike did was terrible, and she was terrified of the future. My cousin Amy, bless her, helped me pack. She also shared more about the family. My aunt, my mother's sister, had a heated argument with my mother, calling her out for favoring Mike and pushing me away. My aunt bluntly said my parents were reaping the consequences. I'm profoundly relieved someone is finally calling them out. My lawyer assures me my move won't affect the legal case. We're still pursuing charges against Mike for breaching the RO and defending his assault accusations. My lawyer is certain the judge will see through Mike's arguments, especially his RO violations. My move across the nation should also show I'm not a threat to Mike, potentially helping drop his charges. I don't know if I'll post any further updates after this. Part of truly starting over is putting the past behind me. As helpful as this community has been, it's time to move on from constantly revisiting this narrative. I need to focus on building my new life, not obsessing over the past. So this is my final update. Wish me luck. I've got a whole new life ahead of me in Seattle, and I intend to make the absolute most of it. This whole experience has changed me in ways I never thought possible. It's left scars, deep ones, but it's also shown me who I truly am and who I deserve to have in my life. I'm finally choosing myself. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced such a profound betrayal, or had to make such a drastic decision to protect your own peace? How did you find the strength to move forward? Let me know in the comments below.